Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by 10th Man, the Adam Meakin, and Arwin in G+, together with a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Good morning.
Good afternoon, everyone.
What's up?
Hey, Adam.
All right, mate.
Hey, thanks for those words in the early bird show in my chat. I really appreciated that.
That was only true, my friend. I get sick of people attacking you on that pathetic little thing.
They always do that.
Yeah,
They have to. They have to squirt.
yeah, exactly. That's,
Anyway.
I think the important thing is that I think most people realise the effort and dedication you put into providing what you're doing.
I know. It was a good show today.
Yeah.
Hey, did we hear? Did you guys hear? We're going to Mars. We're going to Mars. They got all this new CGI of what they're going to do, and it's so beautiful. No.
Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container for the gas to press upon, given that we're all breathing gas at pressure, and it's claimed that Mars, this light in the sky, is actually a rock in a 10 to the minus 17 torr sky vacuum. So given that it's claimed that Mars, the place they're now claiming to travel to, is in a sky vacuum and we're breathing gas pressure, is there any evidence whatsoever that we can have the gas pressure without containment, as asserted by NASA?
Ooh. Well, overall, no. But in this case, I actually addressed that a little indirectly, because if I was going to be too overt in that chat, they were probably going to ban me, like a couple of other flat earthers that tried that. So I asked them, like, hey, yeah, I'm seeing the boosters in the animations, it's like, oh, look at that flame. But in the footage, the supposed real footage they showed, there was nothing. So then they said in chat, yeah, that's just the animation, I don't know why they even show that. But yeah, in a vacuum, you don't see that. So it's in a vacuum, you say. But then it means that, yeah, if you don't see it because it's in a vacuum, that means that all that gas in the tanker that's supposedly firing, pressing, it's just going to vent in all directions and not be able to find any kind of momentum or like a surface to press against, no counter pressure to actually create thrust. So how does that work?
It doesn't. There is no vacuum.
Nobody responded to that one.
Yeah, there is no vacuum. Wherever they claim they're travelling, they're not, because they're claiming that the area that they're travelling through is a vacuum in the sky without the gas we're breathing filling it, in violation of natural law. So no, they're just lying. They're not travelling to a rock in the sky called Mars, because that light in the sky is claimed by them to be occupying a region that would take all the gas we're breathing away from us. That would be a vacuum. Now obviously we're still breathing, therefore there must be containment for us to have the gas pressure. Not a sky vacuum, quite the contrary. We must be contained. Without the container, there can be no pressure.
I don't know, man. The CGI was pretty convincing.
Oh yeah, I've seen science.
I think we might have to revise the law of nature there, because it's just too convincing.
Well, didn't Matt Damon already go there and come back?
Matt Damon.
Good morning, guys.
Good
Hey,
morning,
Chocolate.
What time?
Choco.
Morning, mic check. Morning, guys.
Good morning. Hey, Rebel.
Hey. Yeah, I have evidence.
Oh, here we go. This should be good.
Yeah. So 1969 Apollo mission. That's my evidence. We got pictures and video.
Where did the...
And
Listen, I was just told that myself.
This evidence will stand in court.
Okay. Where's the pictures, you say? Where are they claimed to be taken from? Where's this journey supposed to have taken place?
In space, like
Sky vacuum.
10 to the power to 10 to the whatever.
Minus 17. Yeah, minus 17.
Power.
Yeah. 10 to the minus 17 tour sky vacuum is where this is claimed to have taken place. Right?
That's right.
No, it didn't, because if that was the case, then we wouldn't have any gas to breathe. The gas we're breathing, that would fill that available volume instantaneously. It's called the second law of thermodynamics. It's the entropy law. Gas wants to fill the availability of volume it has to fill. And fill it must. It's inviolable natural law. So no, the sky definitely isn't a vacuum. So if they're claiming that they travelled to the moon now, and the moon, this other light in the sky, this bigger light in the sky, is actually a physical rock that they can travel through a sky vacuum to get to, no, definitely not. Total lie.
Also, it fell apart in court too.
At the arena,
atheists
we
in
were just
1960
told. The arena, we were just told that proof of curvature is the Himawari 8 by Professor Retro Reflector.
I listened to a little bit of that, Chocolate. That was funny.
That was his proof of we live on a ball. His pictures, cartoons from second law of thermodynamics sky violation.
Didn't Paul on the plane dismantle that idea of Himawari?
Let's just do it again.
Well, this is a
I'm
guy
sure Paul
that
did a good job.
says he puts these things up there too.
Where
I'm
did
talking
he
about
put them?
Phil.
Let's just deal with that. Chocolate's already done it in summary, but let's just do it again for Rebel. Sorry, where's the Himawari claim to be again?
Where is it again?
I get it. It's a space. 10 to the
vacuum.
minus 17 torr, negative pressure.
Not negative pressure. No. Just 10 to the minus 17 torr is not negative pressure. You can't have negative pressure.
What do you mean? It's to the negative power. There has to be.
Yeah, negative power.
pressure.
Less and less. Orders of magnitude, less stuff in it. But you never get to a point where there's less than nothing. You can't have that. You can't have negative pressure. Just take my word for it. Let's move on. So Himawari's claim to be in this sky vacuum. Oh, right. No, it isn't. Because that violates natural law. The gas we're breathing would fill the space. If this black area here, if this was a vacuum, all of the gas here, which is high pressure, wanting to expand in all directions, would just fill it. And we'd have no gas anymore. This cannot be a vacuum. It's preposterous. In fact, it's a violation of natural law to assert that this is a vacuum. So see this dude over here? Yeah, floating around with containment. He needs containment to stop the gas from expanding in this fantasy. Well, the gas on Earth would expand also. That's what gas does. No Himawari. Same thing. Nothing ever claimed to have taken place in space has ever taken place.
Nathan, do you represent the entire body of science? Do you have like a PhD? How can you say that? They have pictures.
Yes. BSc, SSc.
Not online.
Bronze swimming certificate. Silver swimming certificate.
Nice.
Here's what we got on this show. Logic. Simple, easy to ascertain, and backed up. They don't have that.
Yeah, they have
It's not
pictures.
logic,
They
it's
have
honesty and logic.
They have astronauts that claim to be there. They giving interviews, traveling the world. What are you saying? They're all lying?
Hey, Rebel, I can help you get this, okay? The Apollo program lost in court twice.
What are you talking about?
I posted a link in the live stream text chat. The atheists in the 1960s sued the Apollo program twice, and both times they could not even prove they were in space, so therefore there was no freedom of speech violation. Read the link. They lost in court. So that was your first claim, that this evidence would stand up in court. No, it did not stand up in court.
Wow.
Hold on.
Now-
Did anybody
now
else know
Gary's
this?
somewhere.
Hold on. Did anybody else know this?
What?
What was
No,
just?
I was
Yeah, I
about to
was-
ask for- could we elaborate on that story a little bit?
Is that a no, Adam?
Yeah, that's a definite no. Go ahead.
Crap, my browser
Okay.
crashed twice in the middle of that story, so I didn't catch it.
Can anybody who's in G Plus go to the Discord server and please present this information as it's been posted?
Now,
Chocolate could. I've talked to Chocolate about this before. I think so. Anyway.
I blame chocolate also.
What was it? What did I do? What are we talking about?
We're talking about how the atheists sued. Apollo lost in court when they tried to. Apollo was sued by the atheists, and the Apollo people from the Apollo could not present evidence to prove that there was a violation of the First Amendment when they read from the Bible and took communion on the moon.
What? You never talked to me about that. I've never heard that. But that's
You
interesting.
read from
What
the
hell?
Bible.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, the link is right there. It says
You
the dark
posted
history
something?
of atheism.
All right, give me a
Tyson has read that atheists need to shut up about the Apollo program.
What do you mean by atheist? Is like a name of the group of people?
Yeah, the American Atheist Foundation. They self-identify
Give
as
us
atheists.
I see.
Give us a
Sounds
quick.
great.
Give us a quick summary of what you're saying. So far, a group that's united here in the United States, an atheist group, sued NASA and the Apollo because they read scripture. And when it went to court, NASA's defense was they never were there when they said they read scripture. Is that what you're saying?
It's a Master B, Nathan.
Yeah,
Or
yeah. This is what.
Thank you, chocolate.
Okay, this is basically the claim. That the claim was that when the Apollo 8 read on Christmas Day from the Bible, they read Genesis. The atheists said that was a violation of the separation clause. Then the next thing that happened was they took communion with Apollo 11, and atheists sued that too. So then when they were in court to say that these were violations of the First Amendment, NASA was supposed to present a case. Their first case was that your human rights do apply in space, but they lost that. They lost that way to dismiss. So then they were supposed to prove that they were in space, and they couldn't. So their fallback claim was they basically read from the Bible here on Earth, and anyone can do that, even if you work for government. You're allowed to read the Bible. I mean, that's really pared it down very quickly, but that's kind of the gist of it, without getting into legal, mumbo jumbo.
Okay, so
Wow.
can I feed
So-
that back
so they can't
quickly,
even-
if I may?
Hold on.
Do you mean that?
Hold on.
No, I can. Or
So they couldn't
yes, I
even
can.
prove. They couldn't even prove in court that they were in space. That's big. That's like bigger than big.
That's the bit I wanted to focus on too.
But it was not what it was about. They basically said, no, we didn't actually go there in a defense on something else. So that's what seems to be the case.
It sounds like the
Yeah, that was their
astronauts read
defense.
from space.
Like, how dare
but
you
the-
read the Bible there in space? And they basically said, no, we didn't actually do it there. It was on Earth.
Yeah, that was their defense.
I
Yeah,
see.
that's so they
I see.
basically admitted that they kind of faked it in court. They admitted that as a side issue.
So then the astronauts were on Earth reading it, not in space, basically.
Yeah.
Can you give me context?
Again, Rebel.
Yeah, click the link. The link is right on our space heritage. They talk about the dark stain of the Apollo program, all the lawsuits that followed it.
of the
all done-
Can you see it, Nathan?
I've got it up. You're presenting it. I've had it up since you were presenting it, Adam.
Okay,
Yes,
cool.
for the audience.
Quickly scroll down so it's all watch.
So just so I understand the broad strokes, they were sued for reading the Bible in space for whatever reason. That's action worthy. And their defense was to say, no, it didn't actually happen in space. Technically, it happened on Earth. It didn't happen in space. That was their defense, correct?
Well, the first defense was that they're allowed to read the Bible and then the counter was, well, no, you're not. If this was a government sanctioned activity, you're not supposed to do it. So then they couldn't present proof that they were actually in space. So they just said, well, it was here on Earth. That's kind of the gist of how the case went down.
So because they couldn't prove that they were out in space, it was just taken as read that they were on Earth by the judge.
Yeah, that's what the first judge kicked it down to the lower court. Then the second judge said no jurisdiction. And then that was it. Case dismissed. Apollo program could not even present proof that they were in space to begin with.
Yes, but it was to their advantage not to present the evidence.
Got a bit quiet, Rebel.
The case.
Try again, Rebel. You've gone really quiet.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were telling me to be quiet. It seems to be to their advantage not to present the evidence that they've been in space to win the case.
Welcome to Flat Earth.
I think the point Rebel's trying to make, though, is that typically your web of lies is going to get more convoluted if you present anything. So a better defense is to keep tight-lipped and say nothing. Is that what you're trying to say, Rebel?
Yeah.
Yes.
But Rebel's first claim when he came out swinging this morning was that this evidence would stand up in court. It doesn't. When they had a chance to be presented in court, they balked.
Playing devil's advocate.
Well, you're talking about specific case. You're talking about Apollo 11?
And number 8. Both 11 and 8.
I know nothing about Apollo 8. I know about Apollo 11. Didn't Apollo 8 blow up?
No, Apollo 8 actually read Genesis on Christmas Eve. Each of the astronauts took a turn and they read the Bible and broadcasted back to Earth.
That's the one that just did a quote unquote orbit of the moon, right? They didn't land or anything like that. Was that the same one?
Yeah, they did a flyby, apparently, to scout for a landing site.
Right.
So they read from the scripture on the flyby of the moon, but NASA says, no, we read it from Earth.
That's what the court case decided. Yep.
Interesting.
I don't know you guys realize.
Well, thank you very, very much. This is news to me.
Yeah. Never heard that before, yeah.
If it's true, and I believe I believe that is true, then that's big news.
Well, I gave a citation for this. This is old news, actually. And also, Tyson has gone on rants about how atheists need to be quiet about this. And you have, he says, basically, he did a Twitter post or a blog post about the title is, if you search it, Tyson, atheists need to shut up about Apollo. You'll find it. He breaks it down in more detail about how the court case was such a.
Well then, I propose to you. Then who are we to say there can't be space next to pressurized gas if court case has decided that? We just have to refer to court case, saying we have no evidence. Court has decided that. You know what I'm saying? Once the ball is point, and that's the first line of defense, Apollo, NASA, space agencies, right? You point to the court case, that's it. You shut the argument down.
And now there's been court cases after that too, like the Garcia guy who won in court when the atheist tried to sue him over curvature, a curve calculator, and he had like a $20,000 bet. That happened, I think, was it like 2 years ago now or something like that?
Less than that. It's about a year ago.
Does anybody else find it strikingly hilarious that these guys are reading from Genesis as they're showing this magical spinning water ball in a vacuum?
Oh, it's an outrage.
It's hypocrites.
Like are you kidding me? I just looked at this now. I'm like, wait a minute. Y'all reading Genesis while showing this fake cartoon ball in the back? Wow.
They're not obviously not reading Genesis.
Sounds very cultured. It sort of sounds very anti-Christian in a sense. It's kind of weird to even hear that.
Yeah, anti-Christian.
No, they do it all the time. This is part of their deception to take scripture and bring it in this form of theirs.
I just posted it in
to
the
grab
Skype.
all the.
Sorry, Tim.
Yeah, it's all right. This is a way of connecting with people who are somewhat religious who don't read their Bibles. So those people say, "Oh, they're reading from Genesis, so the Bible must attest to this," but they don't know their Bibles, and it's the opposite.
Well, it could have been like a ceremonial mockery type of incident, right? It could be them getting a laugh out of it.
Yeah.
Well, it was also too about trying to portray like Nixon as somehow like Nixon, God is on Nixon's side. God chose America to win the space race, and to be against Apollo was to make you a communist. It was a dark time back then. It was really dark, and people have kind of lost that page of history too.
Was the first day, and God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. Let it divide the waters from the waters." And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day.
And that, to me, I don't know who played that. I've got the pictures up, but I was going to ask which part did they read? Because if they were reading creation, then it would seem logical that the purpose of this is, as Tenth alluded to, is to mix and bastardize the two so that you've got the scripture and then the visual image. So it's for you to start to accept.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Very well said, Adam.
Yeah, this is
a ceremonial mockery.
Yeah, it's a very twisted way of
without putting too fine a point on it, it's pissing in your face.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. And it was
it's called being Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, this is what the whole Apollo program was. It was just basically a huge, Nixon flex. It had nothing to do with science. It wasn't real. It never happened. It was all about geopolitical positioning.
What are you talking about? He called them up from the phone. Are you kidding me?
Wait a second.
Directly.
Hey, I can talk about the phone real quick too, because I was alive during that time. So that phone was like the meme. He had this green phone that he could make anything happen with just a phone call. Because Nixon was so tough that he could basically force you to do what he wanted you to do over his green phone. It was kind of like a joke, like when Obama said he's got a phone and a pen. Yeah, like the bat phone.
Realize, Nixon was so
not to go
Nixon
on the
was
tangent,
so powerful
but you said,
that when he used that phone, all calls had reverse charges, so he never had to pay for it.
Yeah, he picked up that phone and things happened, and that's kind of why they filmed it in the Oval Office like that, because they wanted to show that Nixon was in charge of the Apollo program. He was the guy because God chose Nixon.
And then meanwhile, in the background, he's got the picture from Apollo 8, right?
Yeah, it's the symbolism. It's the symbolism.
Isn't that funny?
Glorious.
That's cute.
And it's interesting too, because we talked about how the toxic globalists are. So I tell them, I was alive during this. I remember doing all this, and telling them, and their counter is, no, you weren't. You're not almost 60. I'm like, really? That's your counter, right? Your counter is, I wasn't alive for this. So even if I wasn't, we'll just hand wave that, right? Sure. What's your counter now?
You're not real.
Well, wait a minute. There's like video of Nixon with the phone, right? Doesn't matter.
There's video of him on the phone. Yeah, there is. That's it for me. I'm convinced. He was communicating.
We're gonna have to see proof of your birth certificate.
There's a parent footage.
Was that signal being? Am I wrong? Was that signal being like relayed like all across the Earth? Like, didn't it make a whole circle around the sphere to get to its destination?
Yeah, it was relayed from Australia. That's correct. There's a movie about it called The Dish, Australian movie about that exact thing. And by coincidence, on the front cover of the movie, I don't know if it's the poster or the front cover, but either way, the shot has got a picture of a massive dish in the background on a field that's filled with sheep and a television screen with a picture of the moon landing on it and a couple of sheep stood on top of the screen. So that it's a television screen surrounded by sheep with a picture of the moon landing on it and a dish in the background. And that movie is called The Dish.
What? So that's hang on. So that's how they pulled the wool over our eyes.
Yeah, check it out. I'll see if I can dig it out. I'll go and dig out the cover while you chat amongst yourselves.
Boom.
Wait, hold up. The movie is about that phone call?
It's about the relay from Australia.
Oh, okay.
This thing in your face. You're right, Nathan.
Greatest phone call ever made.
Nixon did something for geopolitical reasons.
Bah, humbug. That's too funny, man. Yeah, I remember Nixon and his phone.
Well, one of
It
the
was
best,
ridiculous.
one of the best evidences for Apollo missions came from the mouth of that astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson. He said, "We know we went because NASA calculated the fuel required to go to the moon."
Hey, that's chocolate line.
Great argument, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got it up on screen for the audience. There you go. There's the, I don't know if it's a poster or the cover of the DVD or whatever, but there it is. There's the dish. All these sheep looking at the moon landing. The relay antenna behind.
And the sheep
That's hilarious.
And it's great because the imagery is so true, and the sheep still believe it.
Pissing in your face again, Nathan. That
Was this supposed to be like a mockumentary or something? Like, why do they have a cover like this?
Comedy.
Oh, it's a comedy. Oh, okay.
Well, maybe they use sheep because they want to ram it down our throats.
Oh, ram.
Well,
boom, boom.
Well, if it's a comedy,
Boom, boom.
people, they know. So they're telling you, look at you guys, you sheep watching this crap.
That's why I saw chocolate. An analogy there of the sheep watching it on TV is what I'm seeing.
Me too. Bah.
I'm going to do a few shout outs. We're half an hour into the live show and we've covered one housekeeping question. So shout out to Matthew Lemones. Hope I've said your name correctly. Who's joined as a penguin. So thank you very much for joining. If you do want to join as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, it means you get the uncut and after show immediately after it's finished recording, or however long it takes me to render it, as I do it immediately, rather than waiting a couple of days to check it out on the Nathan Oakley channel, which is my second channel. So you can still catch the uncut and after show if you subscribe today to my second channel. There's a link below, or become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, as Matthew Lemones has done. Also shout out to Clearly, who says Bev destroyed B-ball for life in Emma's latest video. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat, Cleary. And also Al Junkie, who says, you guys following the open brackets fake Perseverance launch? Is that what it's called? Didn't know that. No, I'm not. But I'm not you guys. So you guys?
Oh, and is that what it's called?
Sorry, what?
Like Perseverance. Is it
Perseverance? Yes. It's
probably
a
just called
tribute to
Perseverance.
COVID. Persevering through the COVID. All the freaking NASA morons are all wearing masks and shit and talking about masks throughout the whole fucking thing. It's retarded.
Oh, we can all watch it apart together.
Yeah, it's a masturbate.
Right. They're very proud that they were able to do this and organize this despite the devastating COVID situation.
Organise what? Something to travel? No organisation is really required. That's a lie also. On account of the fact that wherever they claim this thing goes, it's definitely not going to a second law of thermodynamics sky vacuum, because that's not real. So, yeah, I'm sure it's no trouble at all.
John Doe has a video out called The Great Masturbate.
Worth doing housekeeping halfway into the show? Probably not. Before go housekeeping today.
Well, we can talk about sheep, or we can go to the next housekeeping question.
Take a vote. Who votes to do housekeeping?
I do.
Bah.
At least one more.
Yeah, go for it.
Again, Dan?
It's tradition. You should do it.
Tradition. Oh, well, if it's for tradition.
No,
It kind of is tradition, though. Like,
Actually,
it would be weird if we did a whole show and didn't do housekeeping at all.
I don't look at it. I don't look at it as tradition. I look at it as a death blow. Each question is a death blow.
Exactly. They
Fair
haven't
enough.
been answered.
Okay, I don't mind. Either way. I got a more enthusiastic response that time. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
No.
What's gravity?
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Nope.
Himawari 8.
It's in a second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum.
But
Not
we
according
know
to
that the
Professor
Earth is
Phil
a ball
Bell.
because we know that it's up there, so therefore we know.
Up there? Where's
You
there?
got evidence.
Where's up
You
there?
got evidence.
A vacuum? It's not.
Sky vacuum. Hell yeah.
There isn't a vacuum. So him saying I know it's up there. No, we know there isn't real.
But it's
You
there. As a matter of fact, we receive data that tells us it's there.
Oh right.
No. They calculated it.
Well,
It's math.
it's not just that though. If you ignore those fundamental premises and look at the pretty weirdly coloured pictures and then reify them, you've got all the evidence you need.
We asked Just Phil, right? Like what did he do when he was apart? Because he told us how he was the guy putting up satellites, and that ended up just being him watching the launch, right? But we asked him, did you do anything in particular? And there was nothing. It's like he watched the launch.
What was the tool he said he had for the sun?
Say that again?
What was the tool he was telling Whitsitt he had for the sun?
Then what tool?
I'm not sure. I don't remember that.
What tool did he tell Whitsitt he had for measuring the sun? Is that your question?
Yeah, and the heat of it and something like that. Because Whitsitt was saying, "Yeah, I know you got cool toys there." He was claiming something. I couldn't hear because it was going in and out.
Yeah, he said, I don't remember the name of whatever he said, but I mean, the guy does nothing but obfuscate and dance around, doesn't answer any relative questions whenever he was asked about the geometric horizon, and went back to Himawari. I mean, like, that guy's a real clown. And Whitsitt handed him his ass this morning, so pretty good.
Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Nope.
Well, I can't get a degree at looking at stuff, man.
Degree in what?
Looking at stuff.
Yeah, you can get a degree in looking at stuff. It's definitely not scientifically valid. It's definitely not a viable hypothesis.
You can't scientifically look at stuff?
You can say it, making your claim pseudoscience, but some people won't realise that.
Does pseudo mean real?
No. Pseudo means fake, sham, not real.
Oh, okay.
Bogus, pretend.
Intentionally deceived.
Only the sheep look at stuff and say that.
Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No evidence for that. We would know it.
But what about orbits? Orbits prove axial rotation, right? No, wait.
No, orbits is a begging the question fallacy. Your assumption that the bodies that are claimed to be physical actually just lights in the sky, their movements are either circular or elliptical around a presupposed spherical Earth, or in the case of other elliptical patterns, the same thing applying. That those bodies are falling around with this begging the question word orbit. As soon as you hear orbit, it's automatically assuming the entire premise of a spherical Earth and things falling around it. You're never going to show me an orbit. Show me orbits. Show me.
I could.
Go on then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an online travel site.
No,
Show
it's
me
a gum.
one.
I remember
Show me
that
one
too.
body falling around another. Show me that without pointing at a heliocentric fundamentalist religious belief by raising your arm up to the sky. Beyond a fundamentalist assertion, show me an orbit. Just a begging the question
Crickets.
fallacy. Right, self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth. Any evidence of that?
No.
Not
I
even
abstain.
a little bit.
Oh, Alwyn,
Can we get back to orbit for a second?
hold on. Alwyn's been practicing his response for this. Go on, Alwyn.
I was waiting.
Go on, Alwyn. You do it.
P waves and S waves.
Oh,
man.
chocolate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's waves.
you're beating us. That's the end. That
we
proves
just know
the core.
that. We just know it. So yeah.
You have to say it incredulously. P and S
I don't
waves.
know how to be incredulous, man.
P waves and S waves. That's how you say
I
it.
think so.
Yeah, they got
Yeah,
him
I
wrong.
got something to say about orbits, Nathan.
Oh, we're back to orbits. Go ahead. Who's making the question now? Rebel, go ahead.
Yeah. So you asked us to show the orbit, and my answer would be look up in the sky at night. You see satellites.
I said without using a religious belief to prove your religious belief. That's akin to pointing at the sun and saying, you know, when you say the sky's not a vacuum, look at that burning ball of gas in a vacuum. Me presupposing it's a vacuum proves it's a vacuum. Me presupposing that what I look at in the sky is bodies falling around one another. That's a presupposition.
Yeah, but we see satellites, Nathan.
Do we?
Yeah, I see them every
Where
night.
are those satellites again?
Well, hold on, Chocolate. You're too keen. Too keen.
Sorry, but I don't see him. You know, there's supposed to be like over 30,000 of them up there. Pretty close. I never seen any of them.
Where
Ever.
now?
Up there.
Where's there exactly?
Up there.
Would it be a second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum, 10 to the minus 17 torr, as per the claim of heliocentrism, in violation of natural law? Definitely not true.
By the way,
Well, maybe they're hanging on balloons or something. But then you wouldn't
Maybe.
even be able to see them anyway because they would be too small to see.
Maybe the satellites we can't see in the area that's not real are actually in an area that is real, but hanging on balloons, we just can't see them.
Right.
Of course, makes perfect sense.
while orbiting a supposed ball that we've never seen that's got a geometric horizon that we've never seen. Yeah.
They
Right.
have orbits.
Well, if there is hanging something up there and it actually does something, then if you can't see it anyway because it's too far away no matter what you do, then yeah, it's very easy to basically just put any story about that. Like, oh no, they're actually these space devices that are moving around or hanging geostationary, which makes a lot of sense, right?
perpetually falling at the same rate that Earth's spinning. That's what that claim is. Yeah, orbits begs the question. Is everyone clear? Orbits is a begging the question fallacy. Does everyone understand that?
10 waves from Sunday.
Geostationary still makes no sense to me. It's the geostationary, the idea of an orbit, like falling in a direction. How can it hang still and then still have enough momentum to keep on falling in a circle around the Earth, you know,
Just
without
said,
getting
the claim
pulled back in by gravity?
Okay, the whole bullshit presuppositional claim of a geosynchronous satellite is that it is falling around a claim to be spherical Earth, but it just coincidentally is falling at the exact same rate that they claim the Earth is turning. It's total bollocks. Orbits is a begging the question fallacy, and the claim involves it being in a second law of thermodynamics violation. Sky vacuum. Shout out to James Richard. Globies don't picture a flat Earth in space. Sun, moon, and stars are up there for Earth. Earth is not up there with them. Welcome to flat Earth.
But Nathan, we can calculate this orbit. We can write it on a graph. We can calculate the spin, the rotation. We can do this on paper, and even you can even use this with a computer. And it all calculated. We can calculate it all out. So it's real.
Perfect.
Yeah, but you can't do it without RNG, though.
Hold on. What's an orbit, Paul?
Something that doesn't exist because there's no space.
What is an orbit? Shout out to Leonardo Gonzalez, who says, hit the super chat, people. Support your own. Well, thank you very much, Leonardo. I really appreciate it. And I totally agree. Smash the super chat. What's an orbit?
A thing falling around something else, around the supposed little spheroid.
Right, things falling around other things. Right. Show it me. Without using a presuppositional fundamentalist religious assertion when pointing at the sky.
I'm not pointing at the sky, Nathan. I'm using a computer model, and I'm using paper and calculations. That's what I'm using.
Okay, and in that computer simulation, do you have Earth pictured as a spherical object with a presupposed R value?
Of course I do.
Any evidence of the R value? Earth radius.
Black Swan.
Did you guys hear QE's debate with negative exponent?
Unfortunately not.
Yeah, it was deliciously gentle toe tag, but negative exponent attempted to debunk, or claimed he debunked Black Swan, but pointing out that radius of Earth is not constant. Therefore, the numbers QE presented are not valid.
Sorry. His defense was that...
So...
Go on, Chocolate.
Yeah. I was just say, so we live on, what, a bouncy ball? The radius just changed, it fluctuates?
No. It's the wobbly Earth, it's back after 3 years.
G+, hello, G+, hello, G+, calm down. Go ahead, Rebel.
Yeah, so negative exponent basically shockingly attempted to debunk Black Swan by saying, well, the Earth is, the radius of Earth is 3959 miles is not the same everywhere, so the modus tollens therefore doesn't stand. And as QE pointed out that, well, give me the maximum radius, the math is still the same. But negative exponent, and this just shows that the degree to absurdity the Bolus will go to attempt to deny the reality.
He's saying the radius of the Earth changes. What radius?
Yeah, what radius? No, what he's saying is that it's varying. It's because it's an oblate spheroid or there's various topology, whatever. He's going to say that there's a slight variation in radius. Well, okay, in your presupposition that hasn't been measured, can't be measured, and only exists in maths, you're saying that there's a slight variant in that presupposition. That's fascinating. How are you going to measure it?
But forget measurement. I mean, even if you take the largest, which is 3963, I think, the math is still the same for the Black Swan.
Yeah, so if the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959, it makes no difference if you put it up to 3960 or even beyond that. It makes sod all difference. You're still going to end up with 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, giving you the geometric horizon distance. That won't change by varying it a slight amount on that 3959 value. You're absolutely right. And it certainly won't push the distance out to 10 miles, because that would give you a radius that's the equivalent of the orbital, begging the question, path of the moon when they presuppose it's falling around us.
Yeah, but NASA's got photographic evidence of this.
Where's that photographic evidence from again?
Well, the photographic evidence is the continents shrinking and looking bigger with different pictures of Earth from this place called space. So
so it gets a little chubby, then it loses a little weight. I see. That's what Neil smoked the grass meant when he said
that's what
I
got
gotcha. Gotcha.
Like a balloon. I think he actually took a picture of a balloon. That explains it.
Hold on. Let's
because so they took a picture of the balloon when it was inflated, and then they took another picture of that balloon when it was deflated, and so that's why they got this different picture sizes.
Okay, I just want to address what Chocolate said though. Shout out to Ray Priestley. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Really appreciate you. Says thank you. Well, thank you. This idea that the different presentations from the different satellites in space has debunked the notion of these pictures stacking up. I've seen debunkings from the globe side where they've said no, based on the focal length and how it's done, and then I've seen them get little globes and do them with different cameras at the different distances to show how it all works. Who cares? It's just a smoke screen because all of the pictures are claimed to have been taken from space. A sky vacuum. But what they want on their side is for us to argue all day about how the pictures that we're presented as being a spherical Earth from space couldn't actually stack up because the continents are different sizes. And they go, no. If you change the focal length and distance, look, this at a scale version of it does exactly the same thing. Look, I can make this continent look bigger. Okay, but the pictures that are being compared to are claimed to be taken from space, and that stands in violation of natural law. Therefore, the pictures are bogus. No need to compare them in terms of the scale that you say it's representative with when you take a picture down here with a different focal length, because they did not take those pictures of the Earth from space, because space is fake. Can't have gas pressure without a container. We're breathing gas pressure, debunking the sky vacuum called space. So no pictures were taken of Earth from space.
But wouldn't, if you had a fluctuating radius, debunk the radius?
It debunks it having physicality to be measured, but they're only going to... Rebel's point is that even if you push it in the tiny frame that this guy is saying, oh, no, it's different at different places, therefore you can't take the modus tollens as true. It's like, no, when you base the mathematics, it's actually 1.22. I round it down based on what Andrew Thomas Young has stated is the most reasonable way of doing it. As a general rule, 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height will give you the distance to the geometric physical sphere edge, formerly known as Earth curve. That's why you're told as a kid that a 6-foot man's got a 3-mile observable horizon, because that's claimed to be your sphere edge. Well, that's just simple geometry, and if you change the radius value slightly, up or down, it's not going to change that mathematics, giving you a 3959 or 3960. It makes a sod all difference. But when you change it to what you have, if you assume the horizon is a physical sphere edge and you do the maths with the black swan, you end up with hundreds of thousands of miles for the radius. It's like a couple of 100,000 miles. Ludicrous. So it's not going to have this tiny little wiggle room because they say, oh, it's not a perfect sphere. Yeah, so what? Every single distance to horizon measurements still can be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Putting the horizon in the black swan at 1.2 miles, given it's a 1-foot observer height. And it's where? 10 miles? Yeah, that's not within your wiggle room, mate. Just debunks the notion that it's a physical edge called Earth curve. It isn't.
Yeah, in terms of the application to the formula, the differential between the two radiuses doesn't even take effect in the number of decimal points you're using in the 1.22. So its insignificance as an excuse isn't there, because you can put whatever R value you vary in. The variance is so small it doesn't impact till the 5th or 6th decimal point now. So
did you say to the 6th decimal? You'd have to go 4 orders of magnitude higher.
I can work it out, but it's 1.225 taking the big one. So that's why I always said use 1.225. Give them as much as they want. But if you see you're getting to your 3rd or 4th decimal point already, so the impact is negligible. And certainly, if you're looking at the Black Swan picture, you might push it from 1.2 miles to 1. Even if you pushed it to 1.3, that'd be more than it is, it's not going to impact on the significance of what we're saying, which is where the horizon is. It's not going to push it out to, like I said, if you do back calculate to the 10 miles, it's a 250,000 mile R value, not 13 miles more, and that's the polar equatorial difference.
Right. So just to summarise Rebel's point in this instance, so what Rebel's saying is, he's saying there's going to be a difference in terms of the non-perfect nature of a presupposed sphere. However, when you're talking about 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height of feet, that still wouldn't account for that. You'd have to go up a couple more orders of magnitude in order for it to actually show the difference making any difference in the measurement. But it's not going to push it anywhere near what we're actually observing. This tiny amount of wiggle room doesn't even factor in these general maths, which are rounded down to 1.2 anyway.
Even when you let them presuppose they're 7/6 standard refraction, don't they just get 1.3 anyway?
Hold on, Chocolate, sorry. Go ahead, Rebel.
Sorry, Chuck, I'm cutting through. I didn't hear you speaking. But what I was trying to point out is the despicable tactics that bolos are utilizing by claiming that they debunked something. And all they debunked, and I'm sure they understand that the difference is very negligible, but they stand on this point because it gives them the ability to say, well, in their mind, the black swan is debunked because the math is incorrect. The presumption that 3959 radius of the presupposed Earth is incorrect, right? They don't go further than that, and they just state
whose math is incorrect
right there. I'm sorry, what?
Whose math?
Their math.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they know it makes no difference, subtle difference to the math, right? To the distance to the edge. And it's just this is how despicable the tactics are. Is to claim that they debunked something because there's a fraction difference in the presupposed radius at different points of the presupposed sphere. It's just, it's ridiculous.
It's pathetic.
They can have fun saying whatever it is they want, but since this argument has been out, all they've been telling us is about their refracted horizon, their apparent horizon, right? They're telling us themselves, we've never seen the geometric horizon, even though it's defined as something that you should see. So how the hell did they ever measure it?
Exactly.
No, listen. What I'm saying is they've lost so badly that the only thing they can utilize in their defense is arguing about the math being incorrect to the nth degree of a fraction. You see how badly they've lost the argument.
Oh, absolutely.
They have nothing else. But to argue about fractions and say, well, you can't be right. 3959 is not exact radius, and then there's no need to press further. That's just, it can be ended right there. I mean, can you provide any better argument? Because this is just as QA says, a non sequitur.
Yeah, the rebuttals are absolutely pathetic. I would describe it as clutching at straws. I'm going to shout out James Richard, who smashed the super chat and says, Globies, why don't you pay someone to tell you the world you're in, since you're incapable of figuring it out yourself? Hey, pay me. I'll tell you. I'll even put 3 letters behind your name and hold a ceremony when completed. Well, there you go. Fair enough. If you're pimping around here for business, James Richard, then more power to you. Thank you very much for the super chat.
Yeah. But yeah, all their arguments are broken. So now they just throw it back into the cauldron and make
broken.
Word soup.
Literally broken. Whenever they say refraction. Does that mean again?
Yeah, broken back. Like deviated from straight, i.e. not a tangent line. Not capable of being utilized for geometry then?
Yep, and that's their response.
Bye-bye globe geometry. Refracted, broken, deviated from straight, not straight, bent. Oh, well, this isn't geometric. You need a tangent line for that. You need a physical sphere edge for that. You need Earth curve to be a physical location to block boats and buildings. And if it isn't that, it isn't that. It's not Earth curve.
Oh, no, Nathan. The horizon we see is apparent, Nathan.
All horizons are apparent. So if you're going to claim that the horizon being measured is a physical geometric sphere edge formerly known as Earth curve, then that would be apparent based on height, if it was a visible horizon. However, we're being told by disclaimer and rebuttal that we do not see a geometric horizon, that's Earth curve. That we wouldn't expect to see a geometric horizon, that's Earth curve. That the geometric horizon only exists in Earth curve maths. Because the geometric horizon's Earth curve and we don't see it. So we don't see Earth curve. It just exists in maths when you reify the horizon into a physical location, which it's not.
You hear that, Rebel? That's why this argument is so bad for them, because their response to it is literally, we don't see the Earth curve.
Oh yeah, I've debated Black Swan with Glovers. It's remarkable the degree of cognitive dissonance they go to. Like, it's just unbelievable. They literally turn reality 180 and proclaim their whatever they need to proclaim to just keep it coherent in their brain, in their mind, in the consciousness that they live on a spinning ball.
Technically, it's not 180; it's 90. It's turning the world side on in Muppet vision.
Boom, boom.
And when you're not talking to these fundies, it's a little different, right? Because I tell people about this at my job, and there's a dude I told, and after I explained the argument to him, he understood, and he said, well, I heard something about this. What's their response, like a refraction or something like that? And we went into that a little bit, and he was like, so what, you telling me that the light's just bending and bringing that horizon? That doesn't make any sense. He's like, that's the silliest thing I've ever heard. And that would it be possible because you only have a certain limitation of what you could see. You're not going to see something that's 10 times further than where it should be now placed right in front of you. Like, how does that work?
Correct, and the explanation requires 3 levels of begging the question. The web of lies gets too big at that point. So the justification that you're going to presuppose Earth's a sphere with a radius value, and then you're going to bend light around the presupposed radius at the rate of the presupposed radius with 7/6r, that's terrestrial refraction. And then when that doesn't work with the geometry, move the horizon with the refracted value. So once you're the third layer into that bullshit, most people just glaze over. They can't accept that level of bullshit.
Yeah, I call it going into weeds. Like, as soon as somebody's mentions to me refraction or that we can see further because of light bends, I stop right there and say, then you can never measure the radius. Period.
Exactly.
End of story.
Exactly. That's the end. Exactly. Precisely well put, Rebel. As soon as you're at the point that the horizon is refracted, it is ipso facto no longer geometric, and the Earth curve assertion is based on geometry. It's the end of the globe. It's the end of the heliocentric model. Everything hangs on R, and we've debunked it. With that, I'll say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ Panels for making today's live show possible. If you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Massive thank you to all of you who liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and smashed the super chat. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on a premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a day! What a lovely day!